Don, in addition to the Clifford question, this has been another big question. A lot of Hawkeye fans chiming in here about the injuries that seem to happen for Penn State on any potential momentum-building plays for Iowa. I was not suspicious in the first half. Somebody texted me just after halftime and said, isn't this weird that every time Iowa has a big play or a series of big plays, a Penn State guy goes down? It happened again in the second half. I don't want to act with suspicion towards something like this, but what were your thoughts on the consistent injuries at big times?
I will admit, I'm going to go back and look at the copy of the game, of course, not tonight, but tomorrow. It did seem like all the injuries, almost all, I can remember one injury involving a Penn State offensive player. I'm talking about a game stoppage. Number 13 caught a pass near the goal line, and there was a timeout for his injury. And I don't recall a timeout even when Clifford was injured. I'm not sure when Clifford was even injured exactly.
I don't either.
But I don't believe there's a timeout then either. So the thing that made me wonder, almost every last one of those injury timeouts involved Penn State's defense. So logically, you do wonder, is that a coincidence or is it just luck of the draw that so many injuries occurred on the defensive side of the ball for Penn State? It made you wonder. I'll say that. It definitely made you wonder.
Here's a comment from a Penn State fan. You can tell from the logo, Iowa fans booing injured players was shameful. I don't think they were booing the injured. Now, I do have a problem. I went on a rant a couple of weeks ago about the booing. Again, I was frustrated. Second quarter, Don, the Iowa fans booing. Do you get tired of this? It seems to be worse this year than any other year as far as whether it's play calling, whether it's Petrus, whatever. There's too much booing for a team that's undefeated right now and has won 12 straight games.
Yeah, I think people nowadays, if they buy a ticket and go to the trouble of showing up for the game, they have a sense of entitlement.
Yep.
I think they feel that they have a right to express themselves, and they're not very hesitant to do it, I guess you could say. There's that herd mentality. There's so many people in the stadium. If you choose to boo, then nobody's going to be able to identify you as a booer, because there's too many people to count. Maybe that's one reason why. I don't know. But I do think we should give the players the benefit of the doubt. There's nothing wrong with wondering about the possibility that some injuries were not very serious at all. I do know that any number of those players that were injured did come back to play. I know number 91 for sure did, and there was another one that did too. I can't recall.
I believe 17 did. If I got the number right, 17 on defense.
Yeah.
Back. Not long.
And I can understand. I don't know what the injury was, but it did make you wonder. In their defense, it was a pretty warm night or afternoon and early evening, and it's possible maybe one or more were simply leg cramps. I don't know. I didn't see them the way you stretch someone with leg cramps. I didn't necessarily see that, but you did see guys get up and walk off after the injury timeout. So it does make you wonder. I'll say that.
Ryan Brock, I like this comment. Faking injuries is more shameful than booing fake injuries. Again, we don't know, but I would agree with that. Pete makes a comment. He was shocked as a PSU fan at the classlessness of the Iowa fans booing kids who were hurt. I've always found Iowa fans to be classy. Go ahead and storm the field. You beat our backup. Look, I get it. You're upset. And I'm not condoning the booing. I'm not a big fan of it either. I think that the injuries were suspicious, but
I do have one question for Pete. Pete, are you sure that maybe one or more of those injuries were not tied into stopping the game? Are you sure of that? I don't think there's any way you know.
Okay. And one more comment here. Can't believe Franklin apparently called out Iowa fans for being classless, booing the injuries. I have not heard Franklin's post-game press conference. We'll have to look that up. Thank you for calling Iowa post-game at the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Hi, guys. This is actually Jakob22.
Hey, Jakob22.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. Yeah. Regular poster on your show as well as Mark Rogers' show. I do enjoy what you guys have to say. I have a game on. I have the Alabama Texas A&M game on silent, so I have that going on. But I have you guys on speaker, so that's kind of where my priority is tonight.
Well, we appreciate it, and I see that Alabama has cut the lead to 7.
Yeah, they just had a blocked punt and recovery in the end zone for a touchdown. So it's a close game right now. No, of course, I didn't call you guys to. I know you can find that out. I didn't call you guys to, keep you updated necessarily on other games throughout the country. But well, I actually had two close. And you probably know I'm a Ohio State fan and alum, but I also have followed Iowa for pretty regularly. I'd call the only other team in the Big Ten I regularly follow and cheer for. And I have two quick questions I wanted to ask the coach here. I know there's been a lot of talk tonight about the Clifford injury, and my comment about this has actually nothing to do with, they would have won if he didn't get hurt or anything like that. But I just had a general question that I thought about. I was wondering if the coach could tell me what's the mood. Let's say your starting quarterback goes down. I was wondering what's the mood? How does that affect the team when the most important guy on your team goes down? I'd love to hear what the coach has to say about that.
Well, it varies from team to team, and frankly, it just centers on how the first team quarterback is liked and respected by his teammates versus the second team quarterback. In some cases, of course, that second teamer, there might be any number of players that actually think, even though they're not the expert at quarterback play, they might actually feel that the backup is even better than the starter. In those cases, of course, it shouldn't be any problem at all to switch to the backup. In other cases, it's a significant loss. I'm realizing that number 2 had virtually no snaps going into today, just as Padilla's virtually had no snaps. I would think it was a pretty big shock to their confidence as a team that Clifford was no longer out there. And I think it would have been more difficult, without question, more difficult to earn the win today with Clifford playing an entire game than it was with the backup coming in and playing the second half.
Okay, well, that's
not saying we couldn't have pulled it off. It would have been a more difficult assignment. We'll never know, of course, because we weren't put into that situation, so we'll never know.